12 yards. That is the distance between the penalty spot and the goal line. It sounds close. It is close. You could walk it in about 8 steps. But in a World Cup penalty shootout, with 100,000 people watching and an entire nation holding its breath, those 12 yards become the longest distance in sport. And what happens in that walk tells you everything. A penalty shootout is how football decides a match that cannot be separated after 120 minutes of play. 5 players from each team take turns shooting at goal from that 12-yard spot. 1 goalkeeper, 1 shooter. 1 moment. It sounds simple. It is anything but. Here is the first thing that changes how you see every penalty forever. The ball reaches the goalkeeper in approximately 0.2 to 0.3 seconds after being struck. Research published in sports science journals confirms that is physically not enough time for a goalkeeper to watch the ball leave the foot, process its direction, and dive to save it. By the time the human brain processes visual information and sends signals to the muscles, the ball has already arrived. Which means the goalkeeper is essentially guessing. Every single time. So why do goalkeepers save penalties at all? Because the shooters are human too. And humans under extreme pressure become predictable. Norwegian sports psychologist Geir Jordet has spent over 2 decades studying penalty shootouts at the highest level. His research, published in peer-reviewed academic journals, found something remarkable. Elite players who look at the goalkeeper before shooting score at a significantly lower rate than players who pick their spot and commit to it before approaching the ball. The act of looking at the goalkeeper triggers indecision. Indecision causes hesitation. Hesitation kills accuracy. The best penalty takers in the world do not decide where to shoot based on what the goalkeeper does. They decide before they even place the ball. They pick a corner. They commit completely, and they execute without changing their mind. Changing your mind during the run-up is one of the most dangerous things a penalty taker can do. When a player starts toward the ball aiming for the right corner, and then at the last second tries to redirect to the left, the mechanics break down. The timing is off, the contact is impure, and the ball often goes straight down the middle, where the goalkeeper was standing before diving. This is called a miskick under pressure, and it is far more common than most fans realize. Now here is where it gets fascinating. Ignacio Palacios-Huerta, an economist at the London School of Economics, conducted one of the most detailed analyses of penalty shootouts ever published. His research found that the team shooting first in a penalty shootout wins approximately 60% of the time. The psychological weight of going second, always responding to what the other team does, creates measurable pressure that affects performance. This research was so respected that Chelsea Football Club actually consulted Palacios-Huerta directly before a Champions League final penalty shootout in 2012. Chelsea won. England provides the starkest example of psychology destroying physical ability. The English players are not less athletic than German players. They are not technically inferior. Yet England lost 7 of their 9 major tournament penalty shootouts. Analysis of those shootouts shows England's players consistently took longer walks to the spot, avoided eye contact with teammates, and displayed what psychologists call avoidance behavior. The body was telling the truth about what the mind was experiencing. Germany historically showed the opposite. Short, focused routines, deliberate walks, eyes forward. They approached penalties as a technical task to execute, not an emotional crisis to survive. The physical mechanics matter enormously too. The optimal penalty placement is low and into the corners. Research from sports science studies consistently shows that shots placed within roughly 6 inches of the post and crossbar intersection have a save rate of less than 10%, even when the goalkeeper dives the correct way. The margins the goalkeeper needs to cover make it nearly impossible to reach. But most players under pressure aim toward the center of the corners rather than the extreme edges, giving the goalkeeper a reasonable chance. Placement beats power almost every time. A precisely placed penalty at 70 miles per hour is harder to save than a powerful shot aimed toward the middle of the goal. Yet players under pressure instinctively revert to hitting the ball harder, believing power solves the problem. It rarely does. Then there is technique itself. In 1976, a Czech midfielder named Antonín Panenka did something nobody had ever done in a major championship. With the European Championship final against West Germany decided by a penalty shootout, and the entire tournament resting on his kick, Panenka gently chipped the ball down the center of the goal as the goalkeeper dived left. The goalkeeper was already gone. The ball floated in. The technique has carried his name ever since. A Panenka requires extraordinary psychological composure, because if the goalkeeper does not dive, It is the easiest save imaginable. Studies of the Panenka in top-level football show it succeeds at an extremely high rate, precisely because goalkeepers almost always dive. The shot exploits the goalkeeper's own psychological commitment against them. Matt Letitia, the English footballer considered one of the greatest penalty takers in history, scored 48 of the 49 penalties he took across his entire professional career. His explanation was always the same. He picked his spot before approaching the ball and never changed his mind, regardless of what the goalkeeper did. One decision, total commitment, execution. That is the anatomy of a perfect penalty. The distance is 12 yards. The time is less than a third of a second. And the entire difference between success and failure lives in the 6 inches between your ears, before you ever take a step towards the ball. Subscribe if you want to keep understanding football at this level. There is a lot more where this came from.